Hey there. Yeah, I want to do one other video. I changed my mind. I'm not actually. Oh, that's my chest. I was like, what is that? I thought that was my shirt or something. Shirt shouldn't be up there. But anyway. So I was just meaning to do a video, on fitting in. It's weird. Being completely honest, I don't know why on YouTube. I always try to kind of like be in the sector of YouTube that's more like black YouTube. And I, I realized, I really don't fit in that much with black people. Generally, it seems like. All my life, I've always had it where mixed people and black people have always treated me like, in a weird way, like I didn't belong. And I never understood that. It really didn't matter, like, what color the person was or what their background was, even many of the time. Even had some people try to, I guess, feel like, I've had this, like, for example, I've had lighter skinned people who have more African features and attack me for having less than them. And I've had it where with black Americans, like I've said in the past, I had that whole experience with my ex roommate where she tried to claim I wasn't black and I was just racist against black people. I was just basically saying I was black to get away with being racist. It's just weird. I mean, like, it was a whole very weird incident. But the weirdest part of that situation was she was able to get away with saying that I was of Indian descent to at least 5 different black people, enough to get me fired and kicked out of my place. So, I mean, after that, I've said before, I've always felt like I kind of kept my distance because I felt like, oh, I didn't know dark-skinned black people had that power over me to just basically claim I'm not black at will and just basically screw up my whole life if they want to, you know what I mean? I always felt with mixed people, similar situation though, like, even though I'm darker than them, generally, it would always be like they still didn't like my features, really, on my face. And they always were treating me like, as far as facial features and stuff, like they didn't want to label me with them specifically, you know. They more so like to say I was a foreigner, honestly, than anything. And so for me, I've always felt like my mother kind of raised me right in the sense of, like, when I was under 18, my mother raised me to be around only white people, not really black people. She tried to avoid black people. I grew up around some biracials because sometimes white people have black children, biracial children, and so I grew up with some, but mostly no. Here and there, every few, households have like mixed race children. Um, but I don't know, with white people, I always feel like white people accept me more than mixed or black people. But does that mean I'm saying accept me as white or anything? No, I'm not saying that. As a black person, I'm saying. I feel like white people accept me as a black person more than black people accept me as a black person. It's always like more so, people make excuses for me being black, like, oh, I'm black, but I'm not from here. I'm African or something, I'm Ethiopian or something, or I'm black, but I'm mixed, or something. They like to make up some kind of excuse. Oh, they love the bleaching one too. Like, people love to accuse me of bleaching. It's like, I don't bleach. I'm just brown skinned and my skin changes throughout the seasons. But yeah, I have always felt like white people accept me more than any other black person does. Darker skinned black people, like I said, the dynamic is different. And ever since that whole situation, I've always felt like, you know, uncomfortable to openly try to go in their spaces, basically. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go. Because when I was 20 and 21, that's what went wrong. I hung around too many, like, people who were black and very black spaces, and then basically it got me into trouble because I ran into the wrong black person who, had another type of problem with me, not having to do with race at all. It had to do with her sexuality, nothing to do with her race. She just used race as basically a weapon against me, basically. Um, so to me, I mean, after that, like I said, I've always tried to keep my distance. And then, in the case of mixed people, like I said, it's always been just like we have different phenotypes here. I'm not like light skinned like that, you know, but I don't think like I have any affinity towards white people even. So sometimes people even perceive me to be like mixed with other races than white, like Middle Eastern or North African or Asian or something. Which the North African is actually true because I am actually part North African. But I consider North African black. I know some people consider it not black. They consider it like I guess Caucasian or whatever. But I mean, if it's in Africa, I'm gonna consider it black if, considering I'm a black person, to me, it's just counted as black at that point. Anyway, um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of like share that because I feel like often people talk about the experience of being a black person or being a mixed person and fitting in as a dark skinned black person, a brown skinned black person, a light skinned black person, or a mixed race person, but I never felt like any of those identities really worked for me. Like I never related to them completely. I relate like sometimes I relate with brown skinned women out skin tone, but then like the whole thing about being treated like you're from a different country is more of a thing that I struggle with that I don't find other brown skinned women talk about. I don't see other mixed or light skinned women complain about either, you know. I don't see anyone really complain about that. Like xenophobic comments and things like that, which really irk me because most of my family is from America and has been from America since the 1600s, 1700s. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. And This is why in the Black community, I just generally don't have much association with them, because it's like, why would I associate with something that can't relate with me or understand where I'm coming from? Most of the time, I feel like I wasn't raised in what they call their Black culture anyway, because I wasn't taught that there was a Black culture. I was taught that there's an American culture. So a lot of different things culturally are different too, you know, and different things as far as perception of one's culture in the first place. So that's why, to me, it's just like, often with the Black